Greetings hobbyists, this is Vol, and in this video we're going to have a look at how to make an interesting tri-formed shape and how to do various types of mesh cleanup. So for a recent project I was making this tri-barreled fusion cannon, which was a load of fun, and you can get those files if you're interested on CG Trader, Cults 3D or on the Patreon. I'll leave some links in the description. But importantly, when looking at this part, this was actually quite an interesting shape to make. You can see it's got a sort of tri-formed shape here, and it actually changes in size between the front and the back, so it's actually different in dimension. And there's quite a number of ways of making this, each with its own potential positives and pitfalls, and an important part of most of those pitfalls is understanding what cleanup is going to be necessary. So I thought I'd cover the making of the basic form of this shape and talk about the different methods that you could go through. So there are several ways of making this, and this is the first way, and I actually dismissed this very quickly because it's, well, just not going to work perfectly, but it might be useful for other shapes. So let's create a cube and let's scale that on the y-axis, and then we'll just sort of scale it up a little bit on all axes. Actually, let's make that slightly smaller on the y, and the first one is we could just use some sort of cutter. So if I Alt and Q to go into box cutter, D, and then have an N-gon cutter, we could do something like this. There, and then I could Q to ever scroll that back, select that cutter, Alt and X, mirror that to the other side, and then we've got that cut out. And then what I could do is come to this, apply that modifier, so we've got it there, and then if I press W to come out of box cutter and then change our transform point to the 3D cursor, which is still in the center, I could press Shift and D to duplicate this R and then rotate this around, let's say 120 degrees, so we've got that there, and we could cut out the next section, but you can instantly see we've got some problems here because it's not going to align perfectly. Well, that's not a problem because we could then cut off the top, so let's select there, Control and minus, do that, and then we'd Alt and W, go back into box cutter, and then we'd have to cut somewhere like there to get that last bit done, and you'll notice then we've got a problem that we're going to have to cut out this bit because we didn't go deep. Either way, this is just an annoyance. I don't think this is the way to go, and I pretty much dismissed this out of hand. So let's just A here, delete all of those, and we'll start again. W to come out of box cutter. So the whole point of this process and me showing you this is that actually I only did this in one way, but that's because I've been doing this long enough that I can sort of make decisions about what I want to do because I've had enough practice cleaning up mesh and getting different results. So what I decided that I wanted to do was actually create this shape and then go into Vertex mode, so we're not affecting the origin, though we could keep that transform as the 3D cursor. G and then Z, move down slightly to somewhere around there, go into object mode, Control and A and apply the scale. This wouldn't actually affect these bevels, but it's just worth doing as standard. And then I come into edge mode, select that edge, G and Z to bring it down so it's a bit longer, and then I selected that edge, and then Control and B, and I went for something like 32 vertices, I believe, or 32 segments, and selected there. So that's the basis of this shape, and then we are going to do the same thing of Shift and D, and then I'm going to press R, and then type in 120 because that's a third of the way around, and then Shift and R to repeat that, and we've got our shape. Now, actually, I think these need to be a bit further out, so I'm actually going to delete those, go into Vertex mode, A, G and Z that down, and then try that again. So Shift and D, R, 120, and then Shift and R to repeat it. So there we go, that's about right at this point. And then we're just going to Boolean these together. Now, I'm actually going to create a copy of these just over here. This is what I actually did in the end, though I'm not sure it was actually the best way to do it. It's just the way that I sort of felt happy with doing. So what we're going to do is select all of these, Control and plus to Boolean everything together, H and H to hide the additional ones, and we're just going to apply all, but that's not going to work. Just so you know, that's only because I've made a copy of it, and now there's copies over there, which is causing confusion. If you ever have that, come to your object data properties. It says that we've got multiple copies of the same data being used for what we're doing over here. Click that, it will get rid of it, and then we can come back here and then apply all, and it'll be fine. And we've immediately got an issue because if I go into face mode or whatever mode, we can see we've got this horrible mess. And that's what I thought I'd spend most of my time talking about cleaning up here, because there's multiple ways of doing this. So let's just Shift and D, make a copy of that, and then I'll Shift and R to make another copy of that, and we'll look at these individually. So first and probably most easiest way is to just try to get rid of some of these vertices. And you can do that in a number of ways. The first is to just use something native to Blender. Now, what I'm going to do here is zoom in on this edge here, so this beveled section, because this is going to have an important problem. So if I just, having selected everything with A, press X, and go to limited dissolve, you can see that it will dissolve all of these, but you'll notice it's changed what we've had to this bevel here because it's dissolved some of those as well. Now, all we need to do is come up here and change the max angle down so that they're all there, but not too far down, that the ones that we want to get rid of are still there. So anything more than, well, 0.0, because they're all on a flat face, should work. But if you've got points that aren't on a flat face, you can up this until that works. But you do need to pay attention to the rest of the mesh, because as we said, if you go too high, it can cause some problems there. So that does work. Now, in a similar vein, we can do exactly the same thing here if you've got Hard Ops. Hard Ops is a paid-for add-on, and it does a lot of things. One, that you can't do quickly without having Hard Ops, so it's really useful for that. It also does a lot of things which you can do in Blender natively. It just takes longer to do it natively, and Hard Ops adds a lot of additional functionality to it. So for example, you can just press Q, Operations, and then go to Clean Mesh, and that has a limited dissolve feature already in there, and that's set at 0.5 degrees instead of the 5 that the native version automatically has, which I find quite useful. It also has other options of you being able to do it just for things that are selected and just for things that are visible, so it allows you a little bit more control there of what you want, and again, a little bit more speed. So that's quite useful. It's not the most useful feature of Hard Ops, but it is definitely a little quicker to use. Now, there are two more ways of cleaning this up. Let's actually just make another copy of this, otherwise we're going to run out of copies. And that is to just make sure that you've got all your vertices selected and then turn them into one face. Now, this is only going to work if you're trying to do this on a flat face. And as this is just sort of being a demonstration, this is a flat face. If what you're using this on is not a flat face, this is not going to work. And there's one other problem that I'm going to mention. So the first thing I'm going to do is just drag there, select them, and to make them into one face, you just press F. And you'll notice that has not worked. I'm going to undo that and talk about why this hasn't worked. Well, this hasn't worked because, one, we've got some vertices on top of vertices, which are just there, and you've got some more there, and sometimes if you're zoomed out too far, I'll do this again, it won't select all of the vertices around the outer edge either. Now, the reason for that is because currently, when you go too far out, there are vertices that are hidden behind other vertices. So the way we solve that is just Shift and Z to go into X-ray mode, select all the vertices you want, and then we can just press F and it will convert everything into one face. Now, as opposed to our other cleanup methods that we've used over here, which has done it on both sides, we are then going to have to do this for the back as well. So Shift and Z, select, and then press F again. So things to be aware of with using this. This is not a perfect method. As I said, you want to only do it when you are creating a flat face, not something that's got an angle to it. For example, if these points here were down there somewhere, this would not create a nice result. So if I just F there, it looks like it's worked, but it hasn't, because you've got all of these basically points where you've got an edge to it. You can see that by the slight distortion, and that's going to cause Blender problems because this is a non-flat face. You can fix this quite easily by selecting those vertices, press J, and that will sort that out, and then I can do the same thing there, for example. So you can fix that after the fact, but it depends what you're doing. So again, cleanup when you're creating a totally flat face is perfectly acceptable. The next way of doing this is to actually select vertices and merge them together. Now, this is quite a nice function. It probably is the one that's the most reliable one that I use. And when I say reliable, what I mean by that is it works in most circumstances. So if you've got small scale mesh problems, probably something that isn't as big as this and therefore as simple to solve, this is generally the one to work through if you've created Booleans. So what I'm going to do is Shift and Z again, select as many of the points that I can, so something like that, and I'm going to select on one last point. In fact, I believe there's several points here, so you'll notice lots and lots of points because it's made this silly triangle. So let's fix this one first. Select on the one we want last, and then you press M and then merge at last if you want to keep it on that vertex. You can also do this if you've got Machine Tools. Machine Tools is free. I really suggest you get it. It's what creates my funky pie tool here. Let's grab all of those vertices there, and then using Machine Tools, oh, we're going to need that close one there. You select the last one, and if you just press 1, it has the same function. So it just saves you a menu to go through, a little bit of a speed up, and then we'll do the same thing. just there. So then we've got this, and actually this is quite nice because it makes this sort of triangled off shape which can be useful for other things. But in this instance, I prefer this more cleaner version using the faces, because what I intended to do is I to inset and then Control and E and then bridge edge loops to create the internal sides. So in this instance, that wasn't the best option, but there's many ways in which this would be. Now, the other option which you could do, now this is what I ended up going with. This one might have actually been the better choice in the end, but this was just something I was sort of playing around with, is that what you can do is not actually Boolean these together. So this is the one where they weren't Booleaned yet that we copied at the beginning, and that's because I'm actually going to do this manually. Now, this is only worth doing when you've got a lot less vertices to play around with, but it does afford you some other options as well. So what I'm going to do is select all of these, go into edge mode. I'm actually going to select that edge, and that edge, and then do the same thing on the back. So we've got that edge there, that edge there, and that edge there, and I'm going to delete those edges. Now, what that does is clean out all the internal geometry and make these non-solid objects, which is sort of what I want because of the way that I was going to deal with this. And there's two ways of dealing with this. I'll go through the one that's native to Blender first, go into object mode, select all of these, Control and J to join them together so they're now one object with horrible sort of intersecting edges, which will not be very nice, like that edge there and that edge there. And then we just go into vertex mode. Now, this is why I would use the other option. You sort of have to do some setup for this, and it's not long setup, but if I can do something that avoids setup, I will. We need to turn on snapping, click on the snapping, go to edge, and now I can select that vertex, press GG to edge slide, and then go to that edge there and click. So that now has brought that to exactly where that edge should be, and then I can click there, shift click there, and then either merge or press 1 to bring that together. So that's quite a nice way of doing it. Now, the only reason I don't like that, this is a really minor reason, and if you don't model a lot, it's probably going to be fairly irrelevant to you, is that I normally don't have my vertex snapping on. I have it off. Now, if I just do one more, you can use vertex snapping with it off. So if I press GG, and then if you hold down Control, it turns on that snapping. So you don't need that snapping on all the time. I actually leave it off most of the time and just remember I can click Control, but it will only snap to the thing that is selected there. And I very rarely snap to edges. I'm almost always using this to snap to a vertex or snap to a face. And normally as a default, I normally have that left on vertex mode. And as I said, that's going to create me needing to click an option and then click down to edge. This is not the biggest problem in the world, let's be perfectly honest, but I'm lazy and I like to save myself time. So instead, I use machine tools. If I click on that edge there and that edge there, so this uses a function in machine tools that's, I can't remember if it's smart edge or smart vert. Either way, I'd turn them both on. I think it's smart vert because it uses the 1 button. Either way, to activate it, as long as you've got machine tools, edit preferences and come to machine tools, and then you just need to make sure that you've got, well, I normally have all of these ones turned on, so I just have this as my default with smart vert, smart edge and smart vase on. If you want to see some videos of how they're used, there's a link in the description to a playlist of all my stuff on machine tools, and what that does is if you hold your mouse basically in the direction you want these to move, I want this to move either up or down, so I hold my mouse above those edges, press Shift Alt and 1, and now we can move it up and down. So it will do this for us, which is great. And what's even cooler about this is despite the fact that these edges are on a slight angle, if I come down to that edge and hit Control, it locks it to that edge and then automatically does it correctly. So for me, just because I have machine tools as standard, that is the way that I would do this and the way that I did do this. And you can see that it will work with either one or both. And then again, once you're there, just bring those together just by merging them, and you've got yourself sorted. Now, just as one final piece that I want to mention, let's just delete those and delete that, and then that's G and Y that across. For making this shape, there is one final thing that I need to do to this, and that is to add a solidify modifier and increase the thickness. So that is how I did this in the end. Now, there is just something that I'll mention about this. Let's just, in fact, G and Z that one up so it's slightly higher. When we did this in this method where we just used a inset, because it was on a perfectly flat face, this means that all of these points whether they're on the inside here, let's just highlight those, or on the outside, they are perfectly aligned to this flat face. So that is one benefit of using the inset tool. Whereas if I come to this method here, where we've got this solidify modifier, and I apply this solidify modifier, if I go into vertex mode and select these and come in to the edge and then shift and Z, you can see that the solidify modifier actually puts a slight angle on these, and that's to do with the direction of the normals. So you do have a slight issue with that. So just something to bear in mind when using the solidify modifier. If you want something perfectly flat, you're probably going to need to do something like aligning it. Again, using machine tools, I'm going to select all of those on the inside, select that one there, and then Alt and A, drag to the left, and then now everything will be aligned. And I can do the same thing, or will need to do the same thing at the back. So Alt A, drag, and now they're aligned. So that is using the align feature on machine tools. Again, you need to activate that in the preferences when you've got machine tools. So a couple of ways of cleaning up and making this shape. From this point, because it's a nice clean mesh, we can do anything that we want, like Control and R, add an edge loop there, Control and B, so we can just add in some detailing there, and then do something like Q Alt on EM macro to sort of expand that out for some detailing. So you can see that this isn't too hard a shape to make once you understand the basics. As always, I hope that was useful. Do bear in mind, if you're relatively new to Blender, that this is something you will get used to. This isn't something that I made 4 versions of when I was actually trying to do this. I've got used to Blender to the point where I can just decide which version is best, or at least when I made the version, could easily fix any sort of issues that I came across. It's just a matter of knowing what works in different situations, and that is a bit of trial and error until you decide what works for you and your workflow. If you did find this useful, please do hit the like button so that YouTube shares this around more and that it brings more people to the channel. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, and if you really want to support the channel further, there is a Patreon page and the link is in the description, where you get all these videos ad-free, ahead of time, and other perks as well. Have a great day, guys.